welcome everybody to another episode of the Think Global Future Podcast. I am here with the incomparable Dr. Toy, and we're talking all things prompting today. Prompting. All right, now this is going to be an entry-level conversation on prompting, so let me not get ahead of myself. We're just going to talk about the basics of what prompting is, how to get started with prompting, why is it important. Of course, we'll have subsequent episodes we can go deeper. And we're actually going to introduce another segment that'll be coming out. I'm going to hold that surprise for the end of this episode, but I'm pretty excited about it. All right, prompting. What are we talking about today, Dr. Toy, when it comes to prompting?
Yeah, so very basic. And if any of y'all listened to the previous episode, you'll know that, it's about a mindset shift in thinking about how you talk to your AI, right? So instead of a basic Google search or, web browser search, you're going to start thinking about that mindset and like, how do I ask or frame a question for AI to get the best answer?
Yes.
And so it's funny because in a way you're not just using it as a tool, you're really using it as a partner. And so you want to make sure you give it some context so that it knows what you want, because the more context you give it, the better results you're going to get. So that old saying, garbage in is garbage equals garbage out. If you just ask it some gobbledygook and you don't give it any context, you're going to get equal amounts of gobbledygook.
Yes.
Because it doesn't know what you want. And so in terms of context, and again, this is very basic. We could do, I don't know, hours and hours of content on prompting, because you can get really, really detailed with it, especially when you get into making custom agents and things like that. But this is just, if you're just starting out, you just got in, you listened to the last episode, you just got in, you've got your chat GPT cooking, and now you just want to start messing around with it and asking it some questions. So the first part of prompting is giving it a role.
Well,
do you want to talk about this?
Before I don't want to cut you off, Dr. Toy, because you was about to start cooking. I saw you in the kitchen. I saw you mixing stuff up. I saw the ingredients on the counter. You were about to start cooking.
I'm a fast talker. That's why I need you, because you have to pull me back. Because
no. Don't want to pull you back, because this is amazing content. So definitely not pulling you back. This is just a before you are released to really, really, really give us the down and dirty on prompting. Let's take one step back and let's just give a definition of prompting. Like, let's assume that somebody doesn't even know what that terminology means. Like, when we say prompting, we're literally just saying how you talk to the AI. So basically, that is all we're talking about when we use the terminology prompting. So like, let's start even one step back before we start giving any strategy on how to do the thing. What is the thing, and everything. I'm one of those people where, I believe that prompting is the whole ball game when it comes to AI. I mean, it really is. There is, you don't have to know the history of AI. You don't have to know where it came from. You don't have to know, all of the technical aspects of what an LLM is. You don't have to know any of these things. If you know how to prompt well, you have succeeded in the game of AI. Prompting is what the whole thing is all about, so I mean, for the general user, the person that's not building apps, the person that's not vibe coding, the person that's not building their own LLM, just the average Joe out here that's going to end up using it to be more productive with their small business, that working mom that I know you're going to have a great segment on, the average Joe. The only thing you really need to know is how to prompt AI. And when we say prompt, we literally just talking about how you talk to it. So when you say, 10 years ago, when we first got started on this whole AI revolution, when you said, Alexa, turn on my lights, Siri, turn on my favorite R&B or country song, like, you're prompting that AI to do something. You're telling it to do something. You're giving it an instruction. That is what a prompt is. And so we're going to take that, that basic thing that we just talked about, Alexa, turn on my heat, turn on my thermostat, Alexa, turn on my stove, Alexa, turn, Siri, turn on my lights. That basic thing that we're talking about, we're going to take that concept and we're going to build on it for this conversation. So when Dr. Toy is talking about prompting, it's just how you talk to the AI, how you give it an instruction, the thing that you tell it to do. The ball game with prompting, though, the good part about prompting, what takes you to the next level of prompting, is you get much better at talking and giving instruction. The better instruction you give, the more precise instruction you give, the better you talk to it, the better results you get back. And that's the process that we're going to be talking about today. But just keep it really simple in your mind. All we're talking about is how you talk to the AI. I mean, do you think that that's like a easy way to think about it, Dr. Toy?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not, way back in the day when we learned how to do a search on Google, and there were a lot of nuances with that. It's kind of the same thing. Like, we had to
Yeah.
learn how to do a search. There were certain
Yeah.
things, keywords. We learned all about all this stuff, and over the last, I don't even know how many years now. But it's the same
Don't
thing.
date
It's not.
yourself, because you
Yeah,
just
it's not
turned
what
21. Remember, Dr. Toy, you just
I
turned
know.
21. So
I'm
you
so
can't
special.
give any hints away. You just turned 21. Remember that.
Yep, a couple minutes ago.
Yep.
But so with prompting, it's just a shift in thinking, again, with that mindset about how you frame the way that you basically ask it a question, or speak to it. And that's that's basically it. So we'll
Mhm.
and again, like Tremaine said, the better you get at conversing, if you will, with AI and giving it more context and more information about what you're trying to find out, the better and more refined that result's going to be.
So, here's a question. Here's the devil's advocate question. We just said the whole ball game is prompting, just asking it the right questions to get the right results. Can it be that easy, Dr. Toy? Is all of this AI, all of this artificial intelligence, all of this stuff I'm seeing on the news, is it really as simple as I just have to ask it the right question?
Pretty much. Pretty much it is. It gets, I mean, honestly, using the technology is really not that complicated,
Not that
which is
complicated.
how I'm able to break into this space, because I can do non-complicated things. And
Exactly.
you can get real fancy with some of this stuff. And again, especially as we continue this podcast and we go down the road and get more in depth with some more complicated topics. But basically, like, that's it. If you have information you need, and the right questions to ask it, not even the right question, but how to ask it to give you the information that you need out
Yes.
of it,
Yes.
then that's really all you need to do. And I can give an example.
Please.
Yeah. All right,
Yes.
cool.
We
So
love
let's say,
examples here on this
yeah.
podcast.
Well, we're all entrepreneurs, and Tremaine is famously a serial entrepreneur. Um, and so you could go into ChatGPT, for instance, and say, "Give me advice on starting a business." Okay, it's going to give you advice. Some of it might be really, really good. It, it's going to probably give it to you in many contexts. But if you're starting a restaurant, it's going to give you kind of generic things. It's not going to be specific. So instead, if you said something, and this is again very basic, if you said, "Okay, act as a venture capitalist and give me advice on starting my business based on X number of years of data, and give it some context in terms of your restaurant, what you're trying to do, where you're starting from." Just the more you give it, the better and more focused that result is going to be.
I love that. I love that. Can I give another example?
Yes.
All right. So I was thinking about this one. I actually used this one in my class I was teaching on this on prompting. So if let's just imagine, okay, you just bought a new house, right? And you want to paint the house, and you hire a painter, and he comes and he shows up, and he has his paint bucket, he has his rollers, he has his brushes, and he comes up to you at the front door and he says, "All right, I'm here. What do you want me to do?" And you tell the painter to paint the house. And he goes, I mean, is there a specific color? Do you want me to paint a bedroom? Do you want me to paint a, you say, no, listen, I'm in a rush right now. I got to go to the store, paint the house. I'll be back. You just go paint the
I
house.
love it.
Now, if you go to the store and come back and the whole outside of your house is black and all of the walls in the inside of the house are purple and the windows are painted green, you told him to paint the house. That's what you told him to do. Now, let's talk about a better prompt. This is what we're talking about. So that is the equivalent of a very generic prompt. Paint the house, and the painter goes and does exactly what you tell him to do, but it doesn't give you the result that you're looking for. Now, if that same painter shows up, he has his rollers, he has his brushes, he shows up to the front door, he says, "What do you need me to do?" If you say, "Listen, I want you to go in the house, go upstairs, make a right, go to the master bedroom. I want you to find the east-facing wall. I want you to paint that wall lavender, and I want you to paint the window sills, there are 2 of them on that wall, white." Then you say, "I got to go to the store. I'm going to come back." When you come back, the painter will have gone upstairs, made a right, gone to the master bedroom, found the east-facing wall, and painted it lavender with white trim on the window sills because you gave him a specific prompt or a specific instruction. Mm-hmm. So I always like to give that example because if somebody puts a generic prompt or instruction in ChatGPT or Gemini or any of them, I always come back. I always use that example because I always say, "Hey, you just told ChatGPT to paint the house." So when it gives you back this general response, just like you said, "I want to start a business." Well, I mean, if you don't tell it what kind of business, what area of the world, what country do you live in, what zip code, it's going to give you results on how to start a rickshaw business in Egypt, and you live in Minneapolis. You know what I mean? Because you gave it a paint the house kind of instruction, very general. What do you think about that example?
I love that example so much. But actually, the house, I would like that house. It sounds like just like where the Joker from Batman lives.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Little Gotham City vibes. Gotham vibes.
I want to be that house on my block in my neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
But yes, yeah. I love that example. It's a great example because that's exactly what happens with prompting. And we're kind of shifting, because we would give Google a paint the house kind of search.
Yes.
But and the funny thing is that there is a flip side to that though,
okay.
Because you can, and we won't get into this in this episode, but you can use these tools in a basic way to give you ideas of what to ask it next. So,
yes.
You can be like, paint the house, what should I ask next? And then it'll actually help you by asking questions the same way, just like you were having a conversation with the painter. You're like, okay, and maybe, paint the house. And then the painter would ask a question back.
Yes.
The
yes.
chat will do that too.
Yes.
If you set it up, like if you're like, "Hey, I want to paint my house. Ask me a bunch of questions so we can dial this in." It'll do the same thing as if you're having a conversation with that painter.
But what you just did? You gave it an instruction. You said, "Hey, I want to paint my house. Ask me, certain questions so that I can understand, what colors, what are the best colors, what is the best, all of the things, and it'll take that instruction and then it'll start conversing with you to give you what you're looking for."
Right. And so, like it said, it's the more specific you can get, the better result you're going to get. And one of the things that really helped me out a lot, and I think I heard this on a podcast at one point in time, but thinking about giving it an idea of the outcome you're looking for in part of the prompt. So a lot of people like to start their prompts with giving it a role, like you're a venture capitalist or you're a head chef, to give it some context, but also giving it that, like, here's what I'm looking for 5 specific strategies for this, so it knows exactly what you want and it can dial in and give you the, you can ask it and the best part about AI, I think, is that it never gets tired of you asking it.
Yes, it does not get tired. You can ask it a million questions. It is not like a person. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't get tired. You can always ask it more things, more clarifying questions. And, to your point earlier, if you set it up that way, it can definitely converse with you to help you get to the result the outcome, the result that you're looking for. So, yeah. So, all right. So you were about to start preaching earlier.
I
To
was.
start going a little bit deeper into this whole idea of prompting. So I think, and how I feel about this whole AI thing. I feel like that it needs to be democratized. I feel like accessibility is the biggest leverager when it comes to this technology around the world. I think everybody, this is why we're doing this podcast. We want to make this stuff as accessible as possible. So as we talk about these concepts, and this is just something that I'm saying just to give you guys a point of reference. Dr. Toy and I, we like to do it in a way that's fun, engaging, all of those things, but also very practical. This is why we use paint the house examples so that you can understand what we mean when we're talking about prompting. We want this to be literally AI for all. And that's kind of how we approach it. So as we're talking about these concepts and everything like that, if you are a very advanced individual in this technology or somebody that's just getting started, we want you to be able to get value out of the things that we're talking about. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. All right. So Dr. Toy, when we're talking about prompting, and I'm asking you a question now, when we're talking about prompting, all right, we have now established what it is. Okay. So we know that we have to ask it good questions. All right. If you're just getting started, if you're trying to figure out how to be a better prompter, again, we advise everybody to just get in, jump around, start typing stuff in. If you wanted to get started with actually elevating your prompt game, taking it kind of to the next level, what do you need to be doing?
Awesome. Yes. So I want to point out one thing that if you go on and you ask the internet
Sure.
for a method of prompting,
Okay.
you're going to get 8,000 different answers. And so I just want to put that out there because there is honestly not, like, everyone has a framework. Everyone has a really cool acronym for the framework.
Yeah. We got a framework. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. But honestly, I mean, they all work because it's every one of those frameworks is about giving the AI more context.
Yep.
And one thing that even before prompting, if you will, or while you're prompting, one thing that really was helpful for me in the beginning, I would, even when I knew how to prompt, started prompting, and it would give me maybe not the best. I mean, this was over a year ago, so it's gotten better, but it would give me not the best result. And I would do the thing that I would do with Google and be like, all right, I'm out. Like, but that was the wrong way to think about it. And so what's been helpful is if you prompt it or ask it and it gives you something that's not what you want, you're still talking to it. It's like it's like Tremaine and I are texting, and he says something and I read the text and it's out of context. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You so-and-so. And Tremaine's like, no, that's not what I meant. So it's exactly the same way, where if it gives you a not good response, you say, oh, no, bad response. This is what I'm thinking. And another thing, unlike texting your friend, it's not going to get mad at you. Unless it's Grok and set on unhinged mode. Don't do that, because it would try to get mad. If you want to get yelled at, go ahead and give it a whirl. But yeah, so it's and that's helpful too, because even if you're not using a prompting method, you can just ask it the paint the house question, and then when it gives you back your Joker from the Batman series house, you can then say, no, okay, actually, what I wanted you to do was paint this wall and the thing. So it's the same kind of thing. You just have to keep giving it information, but you don't have to get it all right, all in the first shot or your first prompt. You can say, oh no, that wasn't right. And you can adjust it, and it's still going to keep talking to you, and it's not going to get mad at you. So
that's a great point. So I love what you're saying here. You know, and to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, most people won't get it right the first time. I don't get it right most of the time on the first prompt. You have to reprompt it most of the time to get to exactly what you want. So to your point, Dr. Toy, if you do say, you know, give it the paint the house, you know, sort of instruction, you know, something very general, what it gives you back, you'll say in your mind as you're reading it, you'll say, this isn't quite what I want, you know, but it'll give you what you're reading will give you more inspiration with, okay, let me ask it this thing next. And let me ask it this thing after that. And the results will start to get much more specific and dialed into exactly the result that you're looking for, the answer, the outcome that you're looking for. But sometimes it does go through a series of iterative responses, call and response, meaning that you put something in, it gives you something back, put something in, gives something back. And like Dr. Toy said, it doesn't get mad, it doesn't get frustrated, it doesn't get tired. You keep going through this process. And this is for anything that you're talking about, whether it's painting the house, starting a business, you know, reorganizing your shelves in your cupboard, you know, writing a resume, whatever it is, you can go through this process. And so here's the deal when it comes to actually getting better, which what my original question was, is that the more you go through this process, the better you get. Like, do not feel bad because you don't get it 100% right the first time. This is something that I think we mentioned a few episodes ago. You know, this technology is very interesting because the people that are just aficionados, the people that are just super interested in this stuff are the subject matter experts at this point because it's only a couple of years old. So, I mean, there are no PhDs in this stuff right now. You know, the people that are really good at it are literally people that just downloaded the app 3 years ago and just did what we're talking about. Just started asking the questions, messing up, not getting the results, keep getting better and better and better. And then 2-3 years later, these are the people that are coming out with all these prompt frameworks and everything. You know, we've got our own prompt framework that we've developed over a few years of us doing exactly what we're suggesting that you all do. And we're going to share that framework on another episode, but this is how you get started. This is how you start developing your skills, and this is how you start getting better. You know, I think the last episode we talked about where to jump in. You got to jump in. We want you to do that. But then as you start getting better, to your point, Dr. Toy, and I think this was a great point, you got to just go through the process. You start with the paint the house. Everybody starts with the paint the house. But then when they come back and it's black walls on the outside of the house, you're like, that's not really what I was looking for. All right, let's not do that. Like, what? Then you reprompt it and you ask it another question, another question, another question. So I feel like we're moving people in the right direction, Dr. Toy. What else do they need to be thinking about as they're starting to build their skills?
Just not to, I did this, and that's why I know you should not. I'm going to give you my don't be like me.
The what not to do's. We probably need to do a whole episode on what not to do.
But so it's that. So, you know, I like to be right. I like to get things right. I don't like to be wrong. Who does? Nobody does. Yeah. So, you know, when I would get back at the beginning, a year and a half or so ago, when I would get back some bad, you know, bad answers to what I now know were bad questions, bad prompts. You know, I kind of like, I walk away from it for a while. I'm like, this isn't going to be useful for me. And so something that if any of y'all are listening and you started with this technology a year ago or a year and a half, heck, 6 months ago, and you didn't really see the value because some of the stuff was wrong, I would highly encourage you to get back in and do the same thing, like play with it some more, because I did that and thought, okay, this is writing an email for me, but it doesn't sound like me. Like, I can't use this. People are going to know that I'm using AI. And so I didn't use it for a little, but then when I started to figure out, like, even when it's helping you write an email or get a writing project started, it's that prompt that will get you the right answer. And we'll talk about the framework, and we'll talk about tone and how you give it a personality later on another episode. But setting it up so that it's going to give you what you want is a big deal. And you can do that through prompts, or you can do that through settings. There's a bunch of different ways and strategies there. But
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correctly, don't give up.
Right.
Just good old fashioned, don't give up on it. You know, you gotta keep going with it. That's something that I think is more on the mindset piece of it, you know, because some people are just preconditioned that if it doesn't give them, and this is within it, it doesn't even have to be AI. If they don't get what they're looking for right away, there's no value here. I need to move on to the next thing. You know, with this particular technology, you know, we are encouraging you all to keep going, keep trying it, keep prompting it, keep reprompting it, because the more you use it, literally, the better you get. You know, I think we can. I'm gonna give an example. I think we can use human nature here to kind of get people motivated to keep trying AI. So here's the example. Everybody, if you don't have children, know somebody who has children or knows children. All right, right around, I don't know, 9-10 months, they start pulling up on stuff. And then they want to start doing what? They want to start walking, you know, the 9, 10, 11, 12 months. They want to start walking. All right. If a baby that is 11, 12 months years old, I don't know, 12 months old, I was about 12 months years old, 11, 12 months old, if they try to walk and then they fall, do any adults around them say, well, you tried to walk, it didn't work,
Oh, well.
you need to just crawl the rest of your life? Oh, well, you know, listen, I guess you're doomed. You didn't walk, you know, you tried and it didn't work. So you just crawl around. No, the baby just tries again, you know, and tries again and tries again. And then, like, it doesn't even take that long. Within a month of them falling and getting up, a month later, they're literally balanced and walking everywhere.
And then
And
running everywhere.
Like, you know, I feel like that your development and prompting this technology is just like that. Like, if you just keep going for a very short amount of time with prompting, reprompting, figuring it out, like, you are going to be walking and then running in no time. But you got to just keep going. You can't give up the first time you try to pull up on the couch and you can't take that first step. You got to get up and you got to try it again. I don't know if that example lands.
That is a great example. And I want to just mention one thing, because we hear it all the time, is that it's not cheating.
Yes.
And I've heard this again and again, especially because a lot of schools have banned it or put like hard guardrails around it, which makes sense for a school. You know, there's a lot of power in these things.
Yes.
But I know that even adult colleagues, you know, they think, oh, that's cheating if I use it. It's no longer cheating. And, you know, at first it felt like it was, I felt like I was cheating. But then I realized, wait, if everyone else is using it, they're going to be running laps around me at work and with projects and things. So it's, at this point, I think it's out there enough. It's ubiquitous enough that it's like, it's not cheating.
But this is where, and this is where I mentioned earlier, the ties. I mean, you just drew a direct dotted line to it. This is where the power of this technology is for everybody to have access to it, and for everybody to understand how to use it, how to prompt. You know, this is where our podcast, I think, really, really, really is a good societal benefit, you know, because we want everybody to be able to use it. To your point, Dr. Toy, if everybody's using these tools to be faster and more efficient, it really puts everybody, not just a select few, you know, on an even playing field, you know. And so I'm excited about, I'm very much an optimist. You know, I think that net this technology is going to be positive for humanity. You know, so that's always going to be my angle and my lens of coming at it. But, you know, to your point, Dr. Toy, listen, we all have access to this technology. We can, who doesn't have mine right here? Who doesn't have a smartphone? This is literally the world's information in the palm of your hands. And it's like, you can download the app and start combing through the world's information and bringing it back to you in a way that helps support the things that you're doing in your life and work, etc. So,
and you don't even have to type. But we'll get into all of that in another episode.
Exactly. Yes. All right. And that's a good segue. So we're going to have another segment here that is going to be launching this Tuesday. It's called drum roll.
Where we're going tool talk with Toy on Tuesday.
Yes. Tool talk with Dr. Toy. So, yes.
It's that corny.
Tell the people what they're in store for on Tuesdays with the Tool Talk with Dr. Toy.
Yeah. So it'll be a real quick hit, and like it sounds, it'll be a tool, like when we say tool, we're talking about like something very specific you can do on ChatGPT or Gemini or a large language model, and like a real quick kind of tips and tricks. So if you're struggling trying to figure out like what could I do first, you come by on Tuesday and we'll talk about it with Toy on Tuesday.
Yes. I'm very excited about the Tool Talk with Dr. Toy. I have to be honest with you. This is totally our podcast. You know, our company is doing some amazing things around the globe. But I'm going to tune in to the Tool Talks with Dr. Toy every Tuesday because I want to know more about these tools. Again, we're all learning together. You know, we're a few steps ahead of everybody. We teach classes and courses and things like that. But because the technology is evolving so fast, there are no experts. You know, there's always new stuff coming out. There's always new integrations. There's always new ways to use it. And we're bringing it to you live here on this podcast. Tool Talks with Toys. Dr. Toy every Tuesday. Yeah, we gotta. It's a tongue twister, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it so provocative.
Yeah, well, you know, and it's really cool because to get better at this technology, you just got to put your reps in. Like you don't go to the gym. You don't go to the gym and start with the 800-pound weights. You go to the gym and you get the little pink ones out. And then you build up to those larger weights. It's the same thing. You just need to get your reps in. And so if you don't have anything, but you have 5-10 minutes, tune in and I'll give you a 5-10 minute thing you can try and then keep building from there. So
very exciting. Very exciting. I think we got another hit, another banger. Listen, our podcast is amazing, Dr. Toy. I don't care what they say.
That's right. Who are they anyway?
Yeah. Who are they anyway? All right. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Think Global Futures podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Bye, everybody.